Coming up next, the principals from one of the greatest classic rock bands of the 70s tells us a truly funny story about being young and full of promise. These guys believed that if they could get all the politicians together, all the world's leaders together on a grassy hill with the sun shining and the music playing, that they'd figure out they had a lot more in common than they thought and they could work towards a perfect society. Well, as today's artists will admit, looking back on it, is very foolish thinking, and it never happened and would never happen. But it made for a great song. In fact, it became one of the most renowned songs of the 70s. He wrote it as an afterthought. In fact, he couldn't explain it. The song just wrote itself. Coming up, a masterclass in classic riffs. He's got his guitar with him. Stories coming up on Professor of Rock. Hey, music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. You know, if you've owned so many records, cassettes, and CDs that you've figured out how to open one in 2.5 seconds or less, you're going to love this channel. Make sure to subscribe below and click the bell so you never miss out. I'm excited to bring you another edition of our series, The New Standards, songs that transcend society, culture, fads, everything, and become songs that become the backbone of our society. Today, we got a great one. Music was changing in the 60s as it switched over to the 70s. Vietnam was raging, young men were being drafted, and they were being shipped off, really unsure of what the future would hold. It was a time of great trial.
Well, we've got 7 months in country now, 3 Purple Hearts. I don't need a 4th.
It came to a boil when the tragedy transpired at Kent State in early May of 1970. It was this exasperating time when a band named the Doobie Brothers formed in San Jose, California. This band would have a massive run through the rock era up to now. Of course, inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame a couple of years ago.
It's been a long time coming, but we are so grateful and excited to be...
I wish to thank, first of all, the guys who I accept this award with tonight.
First of all, I want to thank the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for our induction.
They should have been a first ballot, had to wait a while for it. The band, of course, had 2 iterations, the Rock and Soul. From 1970 to 75, it featured lead vocalist Tom Johnston, along with the great Pat Simmons leading their classic straight-ahead rock sound that included a mix of folk and R&B and country. They would dominate rock radio and really pop radio with so many great songs. Listen to the Music, which is today's song we're inducting in. It's also China Grove. Long Train Running. So many more. And then, of course, Michael McDonald joined the band in 75 as a keyboard player and a second lead vocalist to give some relief to Tom Johnston, who had some pretty serious health challenges at the time. This brought a pop soul element to the band, including Taking It to the Streets. And, of course, the #1 smash, What a Fool Believes. They broke up for a time to the chagrin of Michael Douglas.
Man, the Doobie Brothers broke up. Shit. When did that happen?
And they came back together at the end of the 80s, heating up the charts with The Doctor, with Tom Johnston and Pat Simmons. The Doobies' first self-titled album came out in the spring of 1971 through Warner Brothers, produced by Lenny Waronker and Ted Templeman, who would become, of course, a mainstay with the band. The first single was called Nobody. That filled the chart, as did the album. The single was re-released and did a little better, charting at number 58 on the Billboard Hot 100, but it was the second album that would have the true impact. Toulouse Street was released on July 1st, 1972. It was their first album with new bassist Tyrone Porter, who became permanent. Also included second drummer Michael Hossack to support existing drummer John Hartman, starting their trademark twin drummer sound from there. Toulouse Street is the name of a street in the French Quarter of New Orleans, of course. This album would have an immediate impact because of its first single, their first big hit, Listen to the Music, and it dropped at just the right time. It just truly resonated with the masses, with the challenges the nation was facing, It was the perfect song to meet the moment. Coming up next, we've got both Tom Johnston and Patrick Simmons from the Doobie Brothers. They're going to tell the story of forming this band, of course, the story behind Listen to the Music, and its impact that has helped him to dominate radio. Actually, it's a couple of interviews put together. One, he's got his guitar, and he's going to show us how he came up with the riff. Very cool. As we get into this, I do want to thank our sponsor, Zenni Eyewear, the online optical industry leader, to provide the most affordable eyeglasses to people all over the world, the highest quality optical lenses, prescription and non-prescription, for the best price. Zenni has so much variety, so much to choose from. Just click on our info button right up here, our link below, to get up to 80% off regular retail prices. Here's the story. Listen to the music. The thing about the Doobie Brothers that's missing from music today is that you guys wrote what I call rock standards. There's the standards like Cole Porter wrote a standard, George Gershwin, those songs that will stand the test of time. Tell me how that came together with guitar and vocal and lyrics and all that.
At that period of time, we hadn't hit yet, and I was still living on 12th Street in San Jose in the student ghetto, and it was kind of the music center for San Jose. All the guys that played would come to that house into the basement, which, having gone back and looked at it now, I don't know how we did it. It shrunk. But all these people, we had horn sections in there, we had chick singers in there, we had all these guys playing guitar, B3, whatever, at one time or another. Not necessarily always at once, because you wouldn't be able to fit all those people in there. But I spent a lot of time in my bedroom in that house, just playing acoustic and just noodling around, and whatever came up, came up. That's when that song came up. By that time, we had done our first album, which really didn't do anything. And when I wrote it, I was just fooling around with a chord structure. I didn't really have anything in mind, and it's part of that same rhythm structure we've been talking about, doing like that. The chord changes kind of wrote themselves. The best songs write themselves. And I always feel that I'm channeling somebody. I don't know who. But if you've got to labor over a song, it's another ballgame. But if it just flows, this was one of those that did that.
I love how it flows into the bridge.
And then the lyrics, the whole idea behind that, well, we were in the middle of the Vietnam War, and if all the world leaders got away from posturing and talking in negative terms and got together with music playing and let that be the language rather than the gobbledygook that was going on and still going on, that somehow that's the most common language on this planet, to me, music. And then that's pretty much what it was about, a real utopian idea, naive as hell. I'll be the first one, and it never would have worked. But that's kind of where that was going.
Well, that resonates more now than ever. We need that more than ever with the divisiveness we have going on now.
It'd be nice. I still don't think it's going to happen, but it's nice. That's how that all started.
Do you guys remember the first time you heard your song on the radio?
We had a regular gig at this place in North Beach.
On Kearney that we played.
Keystone.
Keystone. Yeah.
Keystone Corners. It was in San Francisco. And we had played there the night before. I think it was a gig with John Lee Hooker. John Lee played, and we opened for him. And we did a lot of gigs with those guys at that club. And it really a wonderful moment for us to be in with this legend. At that time, he was, in my mind, kind of a legend already, but later on, he became even more iconic. So we had played, and I spent the night there in San Francisco at our manager's house. He was living in a house in the Mission District with the roadies for Santana, Herbie Herbert, Johnny and Jackie Villanueva, and they were all living in this house out there. And I spent the night there, and I was upstairs, just getting out of bed up the room upstairs, and I hear Bruce, Pat, you got to come down here. You got to come down here right now. And I came down and listened to the music was on the radio.
Jesus, that's us. We're on the radio. I don't believe it.
We did it.
It was a jam. And we essentially started playing that in 71. And every night there were no lyrics. So I would just make words up as we were doing it. They'd have the without love part perhaps. And, you know, occasionally maybe I drifted off into some Train stuff, but I couldn't tell you that I did. I remember. But Teddy said, man, you really got to write some words for this. This could be a single. I said, I don't know, man. It's just a jam. But he was right. I mean, I've only been right about one song ever. So I listened, you know, he would know better than I would. And it was all based around that. Etc. And so he said, so at the very last minute, we cut the track, and I wrote the words right at the last minute, which in those days wasn't uncommon. Go into a room and 20, 25 minutes later come out with the lyrics, because I wrote better under pressure than I did if I just sat around at my leisure. Or, you know, in the case of listening to music where it just kind of wrote itself. That's how that came about. And then he said, write something about a train. I said, okay. And I could see where he went there. I mean, you listen to how the song goes, and it kind of lends itself chord-wise and rhythm structure-wise to that kind of feel.
It used to be just the first verse over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And
then you play leads for an hour.
And then I think at some point, Ted helped us to kind of break it down to do, you know, okay, the first verse will be straight ahead. Then we'll break it down and do this little blues interlude. And then I don't know who talked you into doing the harmonica solo. Was that Ted? Did he bring that up, or did you come up with that?
Well, I don't know about actually doing it on the record. I had played harmonica on the first album on Chicago. At that period of time, I was playing harmonica all the time, or harp as we called it, because I was a huge Butterfield fan. Absolutely loved Paul Butterfield and James Cotton and all the other cats that played harp out of Chicago. So I was playing all the time, just for fun, you know, and probably did it live a little bit, but I don't remember it. Ended up doing the solo on Long Train Running with a harp.
Amazing solo.
Made more amazing by Don Landy. Da-da-da-da-da-da. I didn't play that.
As far as Long Train Running, and also listen to the music, these great harmonies, where did the harmonies kind of come about? Did you guys...
This band, as I said, one of the groups we all had in common was Moby Grape. And for whatever reason, we all loved them. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they were, 2 albums? And really, the first one was the one that they're known for. But they were all about driving rock and roll, but they also did finger-picking stuff, and they also had these great harmonies. So, bingo. Also, Crosby, Stills, and Nash had just come out, and they were huge with their harmony thing and all that. So when we got together and started writing, we kind of wrote as a band, really. I mean, a guy would bring in an idea for a song, and then we'd all flesh it out. And we just always added harmonies. We didn't think about it. It just happened. It happened. Said, well, this is what we got to do, so we're going to put the harmonies in here. And the solo will go here, and the rhythm structure was kind of formulaic in a way, but at that time, none of it was planned. It just happened organically. I hate to use that word. And then Pat would have finger picking to put over the top of it, or, you know, depending on the song, he'd be playing rhythm as well. That was one of the things that made the band sound, was the fact that you had this kind of an R&B rhythm style with like a bluegrass picking thing over the top of it, and then you've got harmonies, and whoever happened to be singing lead on whatever song.
Well, have you guys ever heard, there's a version of that song Bananarama did. They're a British group, and Gypsy Kings play the flamenco guitar on it. It's pretty interesting.
Wow.
And also, it was re-released in 93 and went to top 10 in the UK. It was used in Harry and Tonto.
remember hearing about it.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. Seeing people out there of several demographics, not only enjoying the music, know the words to the songs, singing with you, and they could be in their 20s, they could be in their 30s, 40s, 50s, doesn't matter. The songs lasted and are still lasting that long, it's kind of a testament, even though we didn't know it starting out. Because people ask a lot, did you foresee yourself doing that? Hell no, I didn't see myself doing it. I couldn't even think past tomorrow, man. Let's just work on right here, right now. But the fact that it's lasted this long.
Yeah, I was playing your song last night, and my son Andrew, who's 14, says, oh, I love this song. I love this song. He knew all the songs. He knew Long Train Run. He knew China Girl. Oh, I love this song. And so that just shows that it just keeps going down a generation. I think it's the one thing that they don't really talk about on TV and show. They show the father and son playing catch, but they don't really show the father handing the music down to the son, and it goes down generations, and that's a great thing. Hey, thanks for watching. Leave us a comment about the Doobie Brothers and this fantastic classic song. Such a feel-good ditty. What are your memories of this song and this outstanding group? What's your favorite time period in this band's history? Do you like the Michael McDonald iteration or the Tom Johnston iteration? Of course, Pat Simmons was in both. Just a phenomenal band. Let's have a great discussion. If you like our content, we invite you to subscribe below. We would love to have you as part of our community. Till next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends.